Hey friend, let me tell you something important. When I first decided to learn English, I felt nervous. I didn't go to an English medium school. I didn't speak English at home. I didn't even know where to start. But something inside me wanted to learn. I wanted to understand English movies, YouTube videos, job interviews, motivational talks, everything. I wanted to speak and feel confident, but I was stuck. Then I found ChatGPT. And no, this is not a sponsored video. This is my real story. How I used ChatGPT to learn English from zero to speaking with confidence. And I'm sharing this with you because if I can do it, you can too. In this part, I'll tell you the first and most important step. Just start talking, even if you think you can't. Step 1. Just start talking, even if you're not ready. Let me take you back to the very beginning of my journey, my first real step toward learning English. I had heard a lot about ChatGPT. People around me were saying things like, "It's amazing. You can ask it anything. It can chat with you like a real person, help you write better, explain things clearly." Honestly, I was both curious and skeptical. Could an app really help me improve my English? Could it be that simple? Still, something inside me said, just try. So, one day, without overthinking it, I opened the ChatGPT app and typed a simple message. "Hi, can we talk in English?" That's it. Nothing fancy, no long introduction, no perfect grammar. Just a small step driven by curiosity. And to my surprise, ChatGPT responded instantly, warmly, and with perfect clarity. "Of course. I'd love to chat with you in English. How are you today?" That moment changed everything for me. It wasn't just a reply. It was an invitation to begin without fear or pressure. I typed back, "I am good, you." I felt nervous, like I was talking to a teacher on the first day of school. But at the same time, I was excited. This was new. This was different. ChatGPT wasn't a person, so I didn't feel judged. It didn't laugh at my mistakes. It didn't interrupt or correct me with a harsh tone. It was patient, helpful, and always ready to continue the conversation. Now, here's something important I learned very early. I didn't wait to be perfect. I don't want you to wait either. Most people make this mistake. They wait and wait, telling themselves things like, "I'll start speaking English when I know more words," or "I'll practice after I learn all the grammar rules." But that day never comes. Perfection becomes an excuse. And while they wait, time passes and progress never happens. I decided to start right where I was with broken sentences, limited vocabulary, and lots of mistakes. I typed things like, "I go to market today. I like eat mango. My sister's doctor." Was the grammar correct? No, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that I was trying. I was expressing myself. I was practicing. And that is how learning begins. The most beautiful part? ChatGPT didn't scold me or say, "You're wrong." Instead, it gently corrected me. "I went to the market today. I like to eat mangoes. My sister is a doctor." But it did more than correct. It encouraged. Every correction felt like a helping hand, not a punishment. There was no embarrassment, no fear, no feeling of failure, just guidance. That safe learning environment gave me confidence. And when you feel safe, you grow faster. In those first few days, my chats were short, just a few lines back and forth. But each message was a step forward. With every reply, I learned something new, a better way to say something, a new word, a small grammar fix. And with each correction, I felt more empowered. Eventually, I stopped worrying about making mistakes. I began to see them as part of the process, not as something to be ashamed of. I realized that the only way to learn a language is to actually use it, no matter how imperfect it is in the beginning. The more I practiced, the more natural it felt. I wasn't just reading rules from a textbook. I was living the language one sentence at a time. So, if you're just starting out, here's my message to you. Don't wait. Don't aim for perfect. Don't be afraid of broken sentences or bad grammar. Just open the app and start talking. Say something, anything. Ask, reply, laugh, explore. Because the first step isn't about being perfect, it's about being brave. And once you take that step, trust me, you'll never look back. I didn't wait to be perfect. One of the biggest mistakes people make when learning English or any language is waiting for the perfect moment. They think, I'll start speaking when I understand more grammar, or I'll practice later after I memorize more words. But let me tell you something from experience. That perfect moment never comes. Perfection is a trap. If you keep waiting for it, you'll never move forward. I realized this early, and I made a choice. I wasn't going to wait. I was going to start where I was with whatever I knew. My grammar wasn't strong. I knew my vocabulary was limited. My sentences were short, broken, and sometimes even embarrassing. But I didn't let that stop me. I opened ChatGPT and began to type. It didn't matter if I didn't know how to form the perfect sentence. I just needed to communicate. So I wrote things like, I go to market today, or I like eat mango, and my sister's doctor. I knew they weren't correct, but they were mine. They were my honest attempts to speak in English. What surprised me was how ChatGPT responded. It didn't criticize me. It didn't say you're wrong. Instead, it gently corrected me in a kind and respectful way. For example, it said, I went to the market today, or I like to eat mangoes, and my sister is a doctor. These corrections were simple, but incredibly powerful. They helped me see where I went wrong without making me feel bad. I didn't feel judged. I felt supported. That kindness made all the difference. I felt safe to try, safe to fail, and safe to keep going. When you feel safe, you stop holding back. You take more risks. You ask more questions. And that's when real learning happens. I didn't feel like I was in a classroom where mistakes meant punishment. I felt like I was in a conversation where mistakes meant growth. So, if you're waiting for the right time to start speaking English, don't. Start now. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They're not failures. They're the stepping stones to progress. Just type. Just talk. That's how I began, and that's how you can begin too. Mistakes became my teacher. One day I wrote, she have 2 dogs. ChatGPT replied, actually we say she has 2 dogs. Great try though. You're doing well. See how kind that is. It corrected me, but it also encouraged me. That made me want to keep going. I learned that mistakes aren't bad. They're signs that I'm trying. And trying means I'm learning. So I kept making mistakes, and I kept learning. I practiced whenever I wanted. One of the best things about using ChatGPT to learn English is the freedom it gives you. There's no fixed schedule, no need to book a class or wait for a teacher to be available. ChatGPT is always ready, day or night. That flexibility changed everything for me. It meant I could practice whenever I wanted, not when someone else told me to. It fit into my life, not the other way around. There were nights when I couldn't sleep, and I'd open the app at 3 a.m. just to have a short conversation. And you know what? ChatGPT was there, just like always, ready to chat, ready to help. Sometimes I practiced while having breakfast, sometimes during a 5-minute break at work. I didn't have to plan or prepare anything. I just opened the app and typed whatever was on my mind. This kind of access made practice feel easy and natural. I wasn't waiting for a big chunk of free time. I was using the small moments I already had. Even if I only had 2 minutes, I knew that 2 minutes of English practice was better than 0. On other days, when I had more time or felt more motivated, I chatted for 30 minutes or even an hour. Every single time I opened ChatGPT, I learned something, maybe a new word, maybe a better sentence, maybe just more confidence. But it all added up bit by bit, day by day. I could feel my English getting stronger. And because I was practicing on my own time, it never felt stressful. It felt like part of my everyday life, just like brushing my teeth or scrolling social media. That's the power of having a learning tool that's always there for you. I talked about my feelings. One of the most powerful moments in my English learning journey came on a day when I wasn't feeling very strong. I remember opening ChatGPT and simply typing, "I feel sad today." I didn't plan it. It just came from the heart. I wasn't thinking about grammar or vocabulary. I was just being honest. And the reply I got truly surprised me. ChatGPT said, "I'm sorry to hear that. Want to talk about it?" That one line touched me deeply. In that moment, I realized I was doing something bigger than just practicing English. I was expressing real emotions in another language. That's powerful. That's true communication. I wasn't just memorizing words or repeating textbook phrases. I was opening up. I was connecting. So I typed, "I feel like I'm not good enough. I don't know why, but I needed to say it." And the reply I received changed me. ChatGPT gently responded, "You're trying your best, and that's more than enough. Learning a new language takes time, and you're doing great." Those words felt like a warm hug. I didn't just feel corrected, I felt supported. And I started to understand something very important. When you talk about your feelings, you learn the real language, the kind people use when they comfort, when they connect, when they care. From that day on, I made a habit. Whenever I felt something, joy, sadness, frustration, excitement, I try to say it in English. "I'm nervous about my exam. I'm happy today. I feel stuck." Each time, ChatGPT responded with kindness and encouragement, and little by little, I found my voice. Not just in English, but in life. That's when I knew this journey was about more than language. It was about becoming more confident, more open, and more me. I learned to trust myself. After a few weeks of chatting with ChatGPT, something truly unexpected happened. I caught myself thinking in English, not just during practice, but in everyday moments. While brushing my teeth, walking down the street, or cooking dinner, I wasn't translating from my native language to English anymore. The words just came naturally, smoothly, like they had always been there. At first, I didn't believe it. Could it really be happening? Could I really be starting to think in English? But it was true. And the reason was simple. I had been practicing consistently. I had been showing up every day. I wasn't memorizing long vocabulary lists or studying grammar books. I was just talking. And that made all the difference. It was the small daily conversations with ChatGPT that helped me build this habit. I talked about what I ate, how I felt, what I did that day. I made mistakes, sure, but I didn't let them stop me. I just kept going. And slowly, I started to trust myself. I stopped second-guessing every sentence. I believed in my voice. Now, when people ask me, "How did you learn English?" I smile. Not because I had some secret method, but because I know the truth. I tell them, I just started talking every day with ChatGPT. That's my message to you. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until your grammar is perfect or your vocabulary is big. That day may never come. Just start right now. Say what's on your mind. Be honest. Be bold. Make mistakes and learn from them. Because English isn't something you master all at once. It's something you grow into step by step, sentence by sentence. And your journey starts today. Step 2. Use ChatGPT like your personal English coach. After taking that first brave step and starting conversations in English, I felt a spark of confidence ignite inside me. But I quickly realized that just talking wasn't enough. I needed more. Confidence without growth wouldn't get me far. I wanted structure, real progress, and personalized support. That's when I decided to use ChatGPT not only as a conversation partner, but as my own personal English coach. And trust me, it was one of the smartest decisions I've ever made. Here's the full story of what I did, step by step, and how you can do the same no matter where you're starting from. I asked ChatGPT to be my teacher. The turning point came with a simple question. Can you be my English teacher? ChatGPT replied instantly. Of course. I'd love to help. That small moment felt huge. I suddenly had access to a kind, patient, and intelligent coach that was available 24/7 on my schedule at my pace. No more expensive classes. No more fear of being judged in a classroom. I had a private teacher right in my pocket. Every morning, I'd start with this simple routine. Teach me 5 new words. And it did. Not just the words, but their meanings and real-life example sentences. Sometimes the words were themed, travel, emotions, food, etc. Other times, I get useful idioms like spill the beans or hit the sack. But the real power came when I started asking grammar questions. I'd type, what's the difference between do and make? When do I use has been versus have been? What does used to really mean? ChatGPT always answered with short, clear explanations. No fancy grammar terms, just helpful examples. It felt like having a wise friend who actually wanted me to learn and never made me feel stupid. That consistency was everything. Learning didn't feel like a chore. It became part of my life. I practiced daily mini lessons. Big study sessions used to scare me, so I went for small wins. I made a habit of asking for mini lessons every single day. These short, simple lessons were easy to follow and incredibly effective. I'd ask, give me a mini lesson on the past tense. Teach me 3 different ways to say I'm happy. How do I greet someone formally? Some days, when I felt stuck, I'd write, explain like I'm 5. And guess what? ChatGPT actually did it. It broke things down into easy language with examples that made sense instantly. These mini lessons helped me learn naturally. It was stress-free learning that I actually looked forward to. I got instant corrections and explanations. Then I started writing about my day in English, just a few lines like, today I go to school. I meet my friend. We talk about football. Then I type, can you correct this? ChatGPT replied, today I went to school. I met my friend. We talked about football. But what made the real difference was this. It explained why the changes were needed. You use go, but the action is in the past, so it should be went. Instead of talk, use talk to match the past tense. With this kind of feedback, I learned from my own sentences. I stopped memorizing grammar rules and started understanding them. My mistakes became my teachers. I role-played real-life situations. This part was so much fun. I started doing role-play exercises with ChatGPT. I'd say, pretend I'm a restaurant. Act like a hotel receptionist. Let's pretend I'm interviewing for a job. And ChatGPT played along. I practiced ordering food, asking for directions, making polite complaints, and introducing myself in professional situations. These weren't just games. They were powerful practice sessions. I got to rehearse real conversations in real scenarios, using real English. Over time, these role plays helped me feel more prepared for everyday life. My confidence grew, and English started to feel natural. I took tests and quizzes to measure my growth. Learning is great, but I also wanted to test myself. So I asked, give me a 10-question quiz on past tense. Can you test me on food vocabulary? ChatGPT created quizzes, gave me instant feedback, and explained every answer. I could see where I was improving and where I still needed work. Sometimes I turned quizzes into games. Let's do a synonym match. Play a vocabulary guessing game with me. Would you rather? Fun question game. These games didn't feel like learning, but they were. I was practicing grammar, vocabulary, and speaking without even realizing it. I created a weekly English plan. One day I asked, can you help me build a daily English routine? ChatGPT gave me this personalized weekly plan. Monday, learn 5 new words. Tuesday, practice grammar rules. Wednesday, read and summarize a short article. Thursday, role play a conversation. Friday, listen to something and describe it. Saturday, write a short paragraph. Sunday, review the week. I followed this routine and tweaked it based on what I liked. Having a plan kept me focused. I wasn't wasting time wondering what to study. The results? A real transformation. After just a few weeks of using ChatGPT like a personal coach, my English improved a lot. I was no longer stuck translating in my head. I could think and even dream in English. My vocabulary grew, my grammar improved, and most importantly, I wasn't afraid to make mistakes anymore. I had learned how to learn. So here's what I want you to remember. If you really want to grow, don't just chat with ChatGPT. Train with it. Practice with it. Let it coach you. Ask questions. Get corrections. Build routines. And most importantly, keep going. Even 15 minutes a day can change everything. Step 3, build habits and keep it fun. Now, here's the secret to long-term success. Habits. Most people start strong and quit after a week. But I didn't want that. I wanted to make English part of my life, like brushing my teeth or eating lunch, something I do every day without stress. So I made ChatGPT a habit. First, I picked a time. I told myself, every morning after breakfast, I'll talk to ChatGPT for 10 minutes. That's it. Not 1 hour, just 10 minutes. Easy. No pressure. Sometimes I did more, sometimes less, but I showed up every day. Then, I made it fun. If it felt boring, I changed it up. One day, I asked ChatGPT to tell me a funny story. Another day, I asked for a mystery. Then I asked it to talk like a pirate. Yes, really, it said, or let's learn English. And I laughed so hard. Fun keeps you going. I also played games with ChatGPT. Guess the word, finish the sentence, what's wrong in this sentence? Would you rather? Fun question game. These games didn't feel like learning, but they were. I was practicing grammar, vocabulary, and speaking without even realizing it. Next, I started keeping track. I had a simple notebook. Every day, I wrote 3 new words, 1 new sentence I learned, 1 mistake I made and fixed. That notebook became my English diary. It showed me my progress. When I felt low, I looked back and thought, wow, I've come so far. Another powerful thing I did, I celebrated small wins. First time I spoke for 5 minutes without checking Google, I smiled big. First time I watched a movie and understood 50%, I gave myself a treat. First time I helped someone else with English, I felt proud. These little victories kept me excited. I also started teaching others. I showed my brother how to use ChatGPT. I helped a friend make her first sentence. Teaching made me stronger. When you explain something, you understand it better. And guess what? I also made mistakes, lots of them, but I never let them stop me. If I forgot a word, I just said, wait, what's the English for that? And ChatGPT helped. No shame, no fear, just learning. Slowly, English became a part of me. I thought in English. I dreamed in English. I laughed in English. Step 4. Keep growing and stay inspired. So, you've built your habit. You made it fun. You've seen some progress. What's next? This is where many people stop. They reach a point where they're okay in English. They can understand. They can reply. They can survive. But they stop growing. They stop pushing. They get comfortable. That's dangerous. The truth is, growth never ends. Language is alive. You're always learning, always evolving. And in this step, I want to share how I kept moving forward, even after I felt good enough, because trust me, the real magic begins after that. I set new challenges for myself. When I noticed I was getting too comfortable, I set new goals. Not big, scary ones, just little challenges to stretch myself. Here are some examples. I challenged myself to talk for 10 minutes without stopping. I decided to write a short story in English every weekend. I tried to understand full English podcasts with no subtitles. I picked a topic like climate change or technology and had a deep conversation with ChatGPT about it. Each challenge made me nervous, but that's the point. Growth lives just outside your comfort zone. So I kept choosing that discomfort again and again. I switched from consuming to creating. In the beginning, I was mostly consuming, reading, listening, watching. That's great, but at some point, I knew I needed to start creating. That meant writing daily journals in English, recording short voice notes, and sending them to friends, and making simple Instagram posts about what I learned in English. I even asked ChatGPT to help me create an English blog. It gave me structure, topic ideas, grammar tips, everything. And I wrote. Was it perfect? No, but it was mine, and that made me proud. When you start creating, your brain works harder. You have to recall vocabulary, organize ideas, and express feelings. That's where deep learning happens. I connected with real people. Learning alone is powerful, but using your English with real humans, that's next level. I joined a few online communities, English learning groups on Facebook, language exchange apps, and even a Reddit forum. I started small, just commenting on posts, then replying to messages, then joining voice chats. I made friends from Brazil, Turkey, India, and Nigeria, all through English. We talked about culture, food, music life. Suddenly, English wasn't just a skill, it was a bridge. It connected me to the world. If you're shy, start small. Even sending one message counts. But I promise, using your English with real people makes everything feel more alive. I let my interests guide me. Here's a trick that changed everything. I stopped forcing topics I didn't care about. Instead, I asked myself, what do I love? I love photography. So, I asked ChatGPT to explain photography terms in English. I love cooking, so I practiced recipes and food vocabulary. I love motivation, so I had deep talks with ChatGPT about life, dreams, and growth. When you combine English with your passion, learning becomes joy. You stay curious. You want to know more, and that passion fuels your progress. So think about your hobbies, your dreams, your favorite topics, then explore them in English. I watched myself transform. After months of this journey, I started to notice real change. I could express myself clearly without panic. I understood people from different accents. I stopped translating in my head. English became automatic. I even started helping others on their English journey. One day someone told me, "You speak English like it's your second home." That hit me because that's what I wanted, not just to use English, but to live in it. That's what this step is all about, making English your second home. Final reminders to keep growing. If you've made it this far, you're already a winner. You've taken your first steps, built your habit, added fun, and started living English. But let me leave you with some final tips to keep growing. Never stop being curious. Always ask questions, explore new topics, stay hungry to learn. Keep practicing daily. Even 5 minutes a day keeps the engine running. Push yourself. Try harder topics, speak longer, write deeper. Help others. Teaching is a great way to master your skills. Celebrate progress. Every little win counts. And most importantly, love the journey. Because when you love it, you won't quit. This is just the beginning. Learning English isn't a destination. It's a lifestyle. And now you have the tools to keep going. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent, creative, and kind to yourself. Use ChatGPT as your coach, your friend, your mirror. Let it guide you, challenge you, and cheer you on. You have everything you need. So go ahead, open your app and say, "Hey ChatGPT, what should we learn today?" Your journey continues. I'm right here with you. I share simple and inspiring content to help you grow your mind, improve your English, and feel more confident every single day. Subscribe, leave a comment, and let's grow together. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mind Blowing Motive. If this story inspired you, you'll love what I share on my channel. Motivational stories, learning tips, real talk, and more. Join our growing family. Be part of something powerful. Click, watch, learn, and grow. You're not alone. We're on this journey together. See you in the next video.